Welcome to the greatest crypto podcast in all the universe's worlds. Welcome to the Orange Brick Road. And you know it's important because I'm using this deep voice. Hi, welcome back to the Orange Brick Road podcast. Today we have Julia. Julia is the CEO of TecStack. TecStack provides professional development and training and advisory for industry with a focus on blockchain for real estate. Julia also is the CMO of Blocksquare, an award-winning blockchain company that provides the infrastructure for real estate tokenization. They've created Oceanpoint, a DAO that acts as a DeFi bridge for real estate, with 43 properties tokenized and brought onto the blockchain in 11 countries so far. So pay attention to this project. And she's one of my besties. Enjoy. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Orange Brick Road podcast. Today we have a special guest with us, Julia. Say hello, Julia.
Hi everyone.
And just for full disclosure, me and Julia are besties. All right, so this conversation could go in any direction. All right, well, just to give everyone an understanding of who you are. How did you first get into crypto?
That was back in 2015. I was doing online marketing, affiliate marketing, and someone told me, hey, you can get all your payout from this platform now in Bitcoin. And I was like, oh, that sounds great, but what is Bitcoin? And then he explained it to me, and I was like, oh, all right, now that's gambling money. I'd rather withdraw everything in US dollar and spend it. And I wish I would have just changed it into Bitcoin and just keep it.
Yeah, hey, we've all learned that lesson, mate. Hey, just a little tech question. How do I get like a split screen on this? You know what I mean? Yeah, you know, so you're on one, I'm on the other. How do I do that?
I do not know. Definitely from your side, from your end.
Oh man, I need Harlan here. Harlan sorts all this out. Because I don't know how it's going to come across now. Is it coming across when you're talking, you're fully on, and then when I'm talking, I'm fully on, or we split screen? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So sure about that.
Oh man.
Definitely not very good with Zoom.
Okay, just bear with me 1 minute. I'm just going to press.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think I've sorted it out all by myself. Yeah, because now it's on a split screen. But I did do it once where like whoever was talking, they would be like fully on it. And then like, but what was happening is it was like someone would say, yeah, I agree, and it flicked to them and then come back, and it was all over the place. So now that we've sorted out our little tech issues, as you were, mate, what were you talking about?
We were talking, should we start again? So
yeah.
We were talking about how I heard first time about Bitcoin and crypto.
That's right, 2015. Right.
That was 2015. And I said it's a scam, or I didn't say it's a scam. I said it's just gambling. And I didn't think it's gonna go anywhere. And I also didn't really look into it. It was like this guy in Germany, he told me, and I was in Australia, and this guy in Germany says just, you know, withdraw in Bitcoin. And Bitcoin was $350 back then at that time. And so yeah, I was like, nah, and he's like, trust me, you will regret it in a couple of years. Just do it and thank me later. And I'm like, yeah, nah.
So you didn't buy any?
I didn't know. I decided not even to look really into it. I just ignored him. And then in 2016, another network marketing friend from Germany, he contacted me and he asked me, do you know about Bitcoin? And he's like, oh, here we go again. And then I was thinking, maybe I should look into it. And I was meeting my friend Leanne, who lives down in Augusta, and I was telling her, I was like, oh, this guy, he keeps talking about Bitcoin. Do you know anything about it? And she goes, oh my God, yes, I can't believe you finally heard about it, because I know about it since 2010. And I think it's the best thing out there, and it's going to change everything. You really must look into it. And so I did, and she became my mentor, and she started to teach me everything I needed to know about money, because I had no clue about, other than what we learn in school about money, and put your money in the savings account basically and buy a house. That's what they teach us, but I didn't really know what was going on in our financial system. So she started to teach me all of that, and then she started to teach me what Bitcoin was, and I was like, oh my God, it's going to be huge. Okay. And that's how I got started.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, because that's funny. Crypto people, when they first, I was talking to Adam Stokes about this the other day, is not only do they learn about crypto and blockchain and decentralization and stuff like that, they also go down the rabbit hole of how money is created. You know, because like all crypto people will know what the central reserve system does, and fiat and the printing of money and inflation. So that's like a byproduct of getting into crypto. You actually educate yourself on the system, you know. So how did you, because now you're fully involved with blockchain and education and NFTs and Oceanpoint and TecStack and that, like you're fully immersed in the crypto community, and you work for different, that's your job. You do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, like all of us. So how was your foray into the actual working for and getting into blockchain?
Okay, so my background was always like, I came from the media, and went from all the, started in print media, developing advertising strategies for that, helping others in that space. And then we went through, oh my God, now we can do PDFs, and oh my God, now there are websites, and we have to change the way how we promote and market and all of that. And then the iPad came to the market, and we created for the music industry, the first interactive magazine and stuff like that. So my job was always basically creating digital media. So when I then looked what Bitcoin was, and then I saw what blockchain is, I was immediately like, oh my God, this is the entire way when we're setting up media businesses like softwares, for example. We can structure inside entire processes different, because we don't need the third parties involved. So my brain as a strategist went literally like, oh my God, so much opportunity in so many different industries. But back then, that wasn't really a big thing yet. Like, people were only talking about Bitcoin. So anyways, what we were doing is, Leanne and I, we started Bitcoin mining with this company in Costa Rica, and they had this education program, and I started to learn from there as well. And we started to run Bitcoin meetups here in Perth back in 2016, and it started to become big. We had like 100 people coming to our meetups every month, and it started to grow pretty big. And in this one of the meetups at the Bitcoin meetup from Leo Treasure, actually.
God, Leo.
And I met as well the guys from Power Ledger back then. And Sherry Ip, she was the marketing lead, and she knew that, I had like crypto groups and all of that kind of stuff. So a couple of days later, I get the call, and they were like, oh, we're preparing the Power Ledger ICO. Would you like to do our digital marketing? And I'm like, well, why not? But yeah, okay, it sounds interesting. I better get my head around blockchain and all of that stuff, because I came mainly from crypto. So, and I needed to understand, what does blockchain do in the electricity space? So I needed to really understand the project, and also had all the marketing background was more, I had a lot of community here locally, but my digital marketing background and everything I've been doing in the past was in the traditional markets. And so it was my first crypto marketing project. So very quickly, I had to learn very fast, like figure out what sites are we using in crypto marketing, how do you reach the right people there, things like, okay, in 5 days we're going to be in Singapore, can you bring us 500 people, can you bring us 100 people in that room in Singapore, and by the way, we need to find someone where we can organize it as well. So in ICO marketing, everything was just super fast and super spontaneous and really just lead generation and crazy. But it was a lot of fun, and we raised a lot of money in a very short amount of time. And it was a challenge, but it was great. So basically I just met people through things I was doing, and that was my first project. And then we did other projects after that, which went more like in the tokenization space of real assets. And and then after working and doing a couple of ICOs, decided to start we also did start working with Whistle in Malaysia, for example, as well. So international opportunities came up as well. And then also we started TecStack because we decided to, we need more to educate as well the lawyers and professionals working in industries, but who don't have that blockchain knowledge yet. But if we want to create blockchain projects and real world solutions, we have to work with people who are really good in what they are. Like, for example, the online marketer who needs to understand blockchain, or the lawyer who needs to understand smart contracts, or what we do now, real estate professional who needs to understand blockchain if they want to think about how can I use all the advantages to open up my market and be ready for the future, that kind of stuff. So that's what we do with TecStack, like education for the professional industry, blockchain education for the professional industry.
Yeah, cool. Because it's that's basically what I wanted to get to, is the different projects that you work on. I mean, like you talked about TecStack, and that's educating. Well, basically, you educate a whole variety of people, don't you? Like real estate people and other people.
Yeah, so mainly like those who are working in who have to do in the professional work environment with management of property. For example, that can be the CFO of a company that of a big corporation that owns a lot of property, or that can be the CEO of a real estate agency, or that can be the councillor of the city of Fremantle, for example, who is in charge of making decisions over their real estate assets. Yeah. So basically we educate them via REWA, Real Estate Institute of Western Australia, and they get 60 points. So we work with the regulators to approve the courses for these industries. And now we want to bring on board the finance and the legal industry as well, but teaching them the same, like blockchain about real estate, because these three parties, they always work together when they make real estate projects happen. It's always finance, real estate, and legal. So if only real estate knows about what's possible, and their consultants don't understand what's possible, and their business partners don't understand what's possible, and all they hear is Bitcoin is dead because people lost money, and so let's stay away from all of that.
Yeah,
it's just not true. It's just bad news and resistance to learn. So we want to change that. We want to bring them all on the same level. So we here, and especially in Western Australia, can really get innovative, creative, and really be ahead of the competition worldwide. Like, what about, why not making us the next blockchain city?
Yep. Yeah, 100%. And the crypto community in WA is huge, and it's growing. But I don't know which project we should move on to first, but you also work with Miner, Oceanpoint, and you also educate into NFTs and that sort of thing. Yeah. Well, which one of them do you want to start on?
No, I don't work. The first one I don't work with.
Miner, don't you?
No.
Oh, my fault.
No. We can talk. We can talk about Oceanpoint.
Yep.
That is tokenization of real estate. So I'm working with them directly, and at TecStack we are a partner for a certified partner for Australia, for the Australian market. So Oceanpoint is the first DAO for real estate.
And DAO, just for the general newbies or people that don't know what that means, is?
DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization.
Okay.
So basically a decentralized. It's like the biggest DAO in the world basically is Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little bit like, you know, when Uber started. Uber became the biggest taxi company in the world without owning any cars.
Yep.
And that is a little bit what Oceanpoint is aiming for, to become the first fund in the world without owning any real estate.
Okay. And what's the process with that?
So basically, Oceanpoint is bringing that entire like Web3 and traditional real estate together. So it's not a metaverse or anything. It's real world assets. It's, for example, you know, PropTech Hub. First, that building could be tokenized, and there is a step-by-step process. With Web3, what we're doing as Oceanpoint is we looked into decentralized finance market, an $80 billion industry. Right now, a little bit less, I think, but not long ago, it was $80 billion. And then how can we connect that now to the assets we are tokenized? So there have been several projects in the past where they try to tokenize big developments and all of that, and go with that. We are crowdfunding basically, but also they would start open up marketplaces where people can basically trade the assets. But at the same time, these marketplace providers might have struggled with getting the liquidity from the market, with finding the buyers of the market, because there's you have to either get those coming from the crypto market, or you have to do a lot of educational work, and you have to do a lot of marketing to bring them into your marketplace. You literally have to onboard thousands of people in order to sell off, your property. So Oceanpoint got created to basically as a bridge, as a protocol to basically be that combine those markets, and it's staking pools. So there's a governance pool. So is the BST rewards token that basically feeds the entire ecosystem, which also gives you ownership in the governance, and you can stake it. That's number one. That's how Oceanpoint started. Now very soon Oceanpoint 0.2 is launching, and on there we're gonna have an asset pool, and in the asset pool, this is where real estate owners can stake their real estate. So your property has already value, and what you want to do is you want to use this value to create a new income stream on top of what you're earning from your rental incomes already anyways. So now on Oceanpoint, for the first time, you can submit your property. The Blocksquare team, like the team who created all of that is from Blocksquare. They are dividing your property into 100,000 tokens. So your property tokens turn into a stable coin, very specific about your property. And let's say each coin is worth $10 because your property was worth $1 million. So like that. Then you receive this token, so you can log in the tokens like you would do in other staking pools normally with Ethereum or whatever tokens you're using, or how you used to do with BST. In this case, the property owner uses the property tokens, logs them in, and starts earning BST rewards tokens for the value of their property. And then after doing this for 6 months, then they can decide, all right, I would like to keep staking because I'm really happy with my new income, or I actually want more liquidity out of my property. And my property has a lease agreements with, it might be a hotel, for example, or an Airbnb or a normal rental property. So there's actually income generated. So now I want liquidity. I need $100,000, for example, 10%. I would like to sell these tokens to the Oceanpoint protocol, receive the $100,000 for the value of my tokens, and now in the future I share, for example, 10% of my revenue with the token holders. So it's peer-to-peer funding basically, but you're not selling anything of your property. You keep full ownership of your property. Everything keeps going as before. It's basically just like another way for you to get some cash out of your property without going to the bank and sign up another mortgage or something like that. And the token holders, they're getting really happy because they're actually starting receiving rental income of your property.
Okay, so just to break it down and sort of simplify it, basically I'm a property owner. I have a high-rise apartment, penthouse apartment in the Gold Coast, for example. I can then tokenize that through the BST, and after 6 months, then people can then buy a percentage of whatever that property generates. So if it's a rental property, for example, and they're renting it out for $900 a week, and I have a 10% stake in that, then I'm going to get a 10% return on the profits that is generated from that rental. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
What
if you decide you want to do that, yes.
What about when they sell the property? Just say they bought it for $1 million and they sell it for 1.4. Do I get a percentage of the 400,000?
So that depends on the property deal you bought. If you on Oceanpoint, there's the agreement that so the property can't be sold without the owner buying back their tokens. So that all property tokens have to go back into the ownership, because as long as you hold a token, you have economic rights on my property.
Okay.
So you will not be able actually to settle the payment. It's the same like if you have other loans. Basically, it's on the caveat. There's a real world protection. Okay.
Okay.
So the process would be like in the sales process, the smart contracts get activated, they buy back the tokens. And the Oceanpoint protocol and the buyer, they have an agreement that I have to pay you the same price to buy back my tokens as you paid me. So you will get back whatever you spent for the property on top of the rental income you already received for a while.
Oh, okay. So it's basically you guaranteed your initial investment return and you're getting yield along the way. So, because I know that, well, correct me if I'm wrong, because I've looked into it, but haven't spent a lot of time. I've been very busy. But you've got properties in Florida and Dubai and right across the world, correct?
Yes.
Cool. So
we
it's
don't have anything in the US, but we have a lot in Dubai, a lot in Europe now. So altogether now 38 properties.
righty. And it'd be a way of me sort of getting $1,000 and putting it into a property in Dubai. So you're almost like speculating on the growth of Dubai or different countries, or where you see emerging markets like the European market, that sort of stuff, and go, all right, I can't afford a $1.4 million property, but I can put $1,400 into it and get the same sort of 10% or 1% return that an investor that had 1.4. Is that about right?
That's correct.
Sweet. And it's all on a DAO, so it's all decentralized. It's all smart contract.
So imagine you're walking through the city of Perth, and your whole, the goal is is zero. We now submitted the first Australian property, just got submitted as well. So it's going to show up on the marketplace hopefully in a couple of days. That's all the tokenization process now. But so the goal is you're walking through the city and you own a little bit in William Street at 110 and a little bit in Hay Street, the number 9, and like in all the different commercial buildings, for example, and you actually start not only engaging as a community member different, because you actually, now you have ownership, like in all these different places, that's kind of really cool. But also you now start looking after your city better, because when you own something, then, and imagine someone is tokenizing their Airbnb, and I can come in there as an Airbnb guest. I love the house where I'm staying. I'm like, wow, this is like amazing. I know how much everyone is paying for Airbnb just to stay there weekend. And there might be a little QR code on the fridge that says, would you like to earn a piece of this Airbnb? Just scan and buy tokens here. So now I can buy actually my little piece of that Airbnb. And I can come every single time I go into my holiday home. I know I'm going to get my little cash back because I'm literally getting my own holiday money back. That's number one. And number two, I'm going to look after the place completely different because I actually own it. So you treat your own home better than, when you go to a random, or a lot of people actually do, to treat their own house better than other people's homes. You're more responsible.
Yeah, that's right. It's like a hire car. You treat a hire car differently than you treat your own.
And the Airbnb owner, he gets all this cash out and he can actually start doing renovating the place, or pay off the mortgage, or buy nice furniture, equip it better, maybe buy a spa, then you can start charging more as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of benefits.
It frees up their liquidity that's based in it. But what I also like is it's like having a real estate portfolio, but you're not all in on one thing. It's actually diversified. So then you're spreading your risk out, as opposed to having, say, round figures, you put $100,000 into one property. You can now put $10,000 into 10 different properties. And that 100,000 that you put into a single property, the neighbors next door could be rowdy and it drives down your price of or they change the road system, or they rezone something. Do you know what I mean? And then it affects your price of the $100,000 of the property that you bought. But now, as a real estate board, what I'm thinking is you're basically, you're risk mitigating by spreading out your risk of different protocols. So instead of 100,001, you will have 10 with $10,000. Do you know what I mean? And you'll be getting different returns from each one. Oh, that's
you know what? If one is not performing well, it's okay because the other one is still performing. But if you buy a property here for $1 million and that is not performing well,
yeah, that's what I mean. Because that were real estate people. Once they're in, they're locked in there. You know what I mean? And if something happens outside their whatever, it can affect the price. So yeah, no, that's very interesting. I didn't know that actually. That's actually quite interesting. Is that done through? That's done through tokens, not NFTs, isn't it?
Yeah, no, tokens. Yeah, and it's basically, it's not. Yes, it is kind of asset-backed tokens, but it's because it's not fractional ownership of title. Like we don't touch title, we don't touch equities or shares, like we don't touch any of the traditional instruments basically. We basically tokenize, so the economic rights, so it's the corporate resolution, and that basically it's almost like, we're making this business deal. Okay, I give you money, you give me a portion of whatever you're earning in the future. There's not even a promise that, because it's not that I'm saying like, okay, I give you 5% or something. It's all based on the business deals you have. Okay. So I think that's a little bit of a advantage as well for we never know what's happening, but a lot of people talk about, oh, we might lose value in properties, but the rental income is going to go crazy because everyone still needs living. And that is basically where the advantage is in this kind of peer-to-peer financing, I would say, or peer-to-peer tokens.
Yeah, because
but at the same time, you just, if you can use it to buy yourself more freedom because you can pay off your mortgage and then basically have more control over your property. And yes, you're sharing it with others, but at least nobody comes in and, you know, because you struggle maybe with interest rates or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, the crypto markets can be overwhelming, especially if you're just starting out. There's a lot to get your head around: security, buying and selling crypto, exchanges, wallets, taxes, volatility, and way more. That's why at Orange Brick Road, we've got expert consultants to help you. Go to orangebrickroad.com.au and you'll see our various specialist consultants listed there. Book a free call with one of them and you're off and flying.
Yeah, cool. And it also incentivizes the owner to improve the property, because then they get a better return.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's incentivized for the client, but also for the owner. You know, it basically is the free market working how it should be, you know, which is very rare these days. Now, moving on to a subject that I still need convincing about, but I know that you are heavily involved in: NFTs, right? I've had this conversation with
I'm actually not heavily involved in NFT.
Okay. Well, you've done very well out of NFTs. Can we say that?
So I like NFTs when it comes to, for example, what they can do in the gaming industry. I like what NFTs can. There's a couple of projects I just like. I don't like. I never bought NFTs for art, for example, or something like that. But that is just something I'm not in my private life. An art investor, it's something I don't understand it, and I absolutely don't understand the valuations of art in the NFT space because it's crazy. But what does make sense to me is what NFTs for example, in gaming, or NFTs in property as well, in Metaverse property as well.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, or when it comes to subscription memberships, that stuff, access ticketing, for example, makes sense kind of as well. So there is a lot of ways where it does make sense, but then there's the most area like where I personally don't touch it, but only because it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I'm kind of there on that as well. Like, you know, the Bored Apes, and you know, to me they're just JPEGs that are on the blockchain, but I could be missing something, you know what I mean? Because it might strike people as weird, but I don't know every single thing on the planet, no? And I have been wrong a few times on a few things.
But I mean, NFTs for artists is great, because artists always had a problem in the world of copyrights and licensing.
Yep.
So NFTs can literally take out that middleman who is normally involved and takes all the profits of the artist, and you basically get control over this, and you can prove very simply as well that you paid for something. So in the image industry, and I know that there's a Perth-based project who actually developed a NFT platform, which is like the iStock, but using NFTs.
Yeah.
So for industry, for your daily marketing and all of that, for that it's perfect, and you pay the same like you would do in the real world. Like so far, whatever you pay, $5, $2, $50, whatsoever you pay, sometimes even thousands when it comes to the corporate images you use for your websites and all of that.
Yep.
And then you can have simple proof of ownership of that. There is no questioning about did you buy that or not. Do I have to actually start a lawsuit with you because you're using my image on your website and you don't have permission? It's very clear, it's very simple, perfect use case. I love that. And NFTs for me make sense in that space, and just keep it real and charge what they're worth it. But I just don't understand why someone pays like millions of dollars for, or even when we're looking into pricing for virtual land in Metaverse. People pay more for virtual land sometimes than for real world land.
Yep.
And it's crazy. And I see a lot of applications for this entire Metaverse and real estate in there. And the way how we run events how we can run events, global events. Instead of us being here on a boring Zoom, we could actually sit in a meta mansion in the Keys Metaverse or whatsoever and have a coffee together and with our glasses and have a real experience. So that is cool kind of stuff. And it makes sense. But would I actually pay millions of dollars for land? I guess for companies, it would make sense if they are planning to do all their marketing in the future.
Yeah.
Virtual marketing. So they're going, because they would pay millions of dollars as well for a piece of paper of advertising space in newspapers.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. I mean, like McDonald's or Nike or, brands, big brands like that, I fully understand. I actually had Leo in here the other day and he walked me through the metaverse. I felt very, very old. But because we were talking about doing lectures online and stuff and having group, and he goes, "Oh, you can do that in the metaverse." I'm like, "What?" So he's made me a little avatar and he's walking me through this metaverse, and they've got like art galleries and all that, and they've got lecture halls, and all these little avatars rock up and you do presentations and lectures and that sort of stuff. And coincidentally, one of my daughters, she's heavily into gaming. So like and it's almost like Second Life, so that they'll have a certain hat, they'll buy a certain avatar, it's a status symbol, righty, certain boots, certain shields, or it's like the gaming industry when they have a special sword and stuff like that. So I see the value in that. But what interests me a lot is like Sandbox and Axiom and stuff like that, where they're creating literally a second world. And what another guy was taking me through as well is like, you can walk into a Nike shop, select the shoes that you want, the size that you want, press OK, and it gets sent to you via Amazon or whatever to your home.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? And he goes, yeah. And eventually, if I don't have to have it now, but talking about going into restaurants and ordering, click on what you want and all that, and go yes, and it gets sent to your home. And also travel, where they're having things like you can explore the Eiffel Tower or go on ocean cruises and stuff like that, and it's 3D, it's all that sort of stuff. You know what I mean?
So that was actually my first Metaverse experience, because we have a Perth-based company called Derive, and they built that.
Well, what are they called? Derive,
DERIVE.
That's nothing to do with Dr. NFT.
No.
Okay.
NFT is different. But so Derive built that kind of metaverse a while ago, and so my first put the glasses on and dive into metaverse I did that with them a while ago, and I was literally, they had to hold me because I lost it. I was like running around there, and then I went into a virtual university, and then over there to the island, and this and that, and they wanted to build like all these NFT spaces in there. No, as well, because they did their AI first, and they started to build the game first, and then later basically were like, because they started to sell it already to industry. Now they said, oh, we have all these NFTs ready to go. So they're going to launch something like that hopefully soon as well.
Cool.
But so yes, we do have really, really, really good projects in Perth actually, which are very advanced already in that space.
Yeah. Oh, great. Well, I'd be interested in having them on or having a discussion with them at least. But you did so yeah, we'll get the details off them off you later on that. You did touch on another thing that's interesting in the metaverse. Well, I think it'll be happening in the metaverse, and hopefully, well, I don't know, hopefully, but having educational programs and degrees, you know, like university degrees and that sort of stuff, where you're not going to the university, you know, which brings down the cost, you know, because they can basically just have pre-recorded or live, you know, from one room, and they'll have 80 people in the class, but they're scattered across the world.
Yeah, exactly that. And then as well, of course, the NFT itself for the certificate you're getting, so it cannot be faked anymore, and actually you can prove that you actually did attend this course.
Yeah, and it's on the blockchain, open source. Anyone can see it. You can see when it happened, who owns it, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. This Web 3.0 is it's like the reinvention of the internet. You know, it really is. And there's just so much happening. And like I was saying this the other day, I do this full time and I can't keep up.
Yeah.
You know, like, so that's why I have people like you around that specialize in certain areas. And I, like, if someone asked me, I'm just talk to Julia, talk to Sophie, talk to Harlan, talk to Leo, you know, like, or Roger, you know, just because you can only, your bandwidth is only so thing. And like, you can only absorb so much, and you can sort of specialize in all these different areas in crypto and blockchain, you know. And I think that's what people are doing now, is that they're spreading out, going, oh, that's a good idea, we can use the blockchain for that, let's build something, you know. So it's, yeah, it's actually exploding. So where do you see like, you know, get out your crystal ball. I mean, you've been in the industry for a while now. Where do you see the next 2 or 3 years?
Well, first of all, I think now is time for a lot of project to develop. So now we're gonna see basically who's gonna stay in the market and who is gonna be wiped off because they cannot afford it basically anymore to stay, or they actually didn't have a real business behind it or business model behind it, so they cannot survive the token load basically. So crypto winter is always the time where the market basically really
well,
shows.
It consolidates, but it also builds. That's where all the
now it's building time in the and so that's something what we do, for example, with Blocksquare, Oceanpoint really heavily now. The technology is already all done for us, but we just focus on real estate assets and just really bring the assets on board, and that's why we basically also like basically more real estate marketing to the real estate professionals, education, and all in that front. While the crypto space is a little bit low right now, but still we're doing a lot of community marketing and that kind of stuff as well. So people now have a lot of opportunity to just accumulate BST and just, you know, grow their DAO shares and that kind of stuff. That's basically the market at the moment. And I think in the next cycle, well, personally, I don't think that. So I think that gaming and Metaverse will still gonna be. It's a future. I think for me it makes common sense to play to earn is something that just makes sense to me, much more sense than the traditional centralized gaming model. And I think the more that develops, the better it will be as well for the people, because people play anyways. Like why are you not gonna then earn if you're playing anyways? And definitely the entire fitness sector now, where you get paid to go running basically, and to go to the gym, and the healthier that you are, the more tokens you earn, and people actually make good money out of that at the moment, just by looking after the health. I really like that.
Who's that? What are you talking about?
Well, there's an app, for example, the biggest I know is called Steppen. And Steppen, basically what you do is you buy an NFT, a sneaker, and this activates your earnings basically, and you can go, you do your normal morning run or morning walk or whatever you normally do anyways, and you just tap that on, and it works exactly like your Samsung app normally measures what you're doing, but there your NFT app starts to measure what you do, and you start earning tokens that are traded on the exchange, and they're actually doing really well.
That's brilliant. So it's sort of incentivizing you to get healthy.
And now imagine what this means for the businesses and the apps, the data that generate, what this means for the insurance industry. So the business model behind these apps, I can see the business model there, because insurance companies will pay a lot of money for this data, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's right. And
so there's a business, you always want to see if there's a business behind the business where you invest in. So and do they actually bring that out or not? And in my opinion, like in the fitness sector, it just makes sense. And it's quite funny because years ago, my friend, she was developing a fitness program, and I said to her, why don't we tokenize your fitness program? We start paying people in tokens when they actually do every day what you're teaching them.
Yeah.
And we didn't do it because we talk a lot and then we don't do.
That's right.
That was years ago. We talked about that already.
Wow.
Like, because we literally tokenize everything that really makes sense, and that is good. And I think everything that it contributes to our health would be great. Why not? A lot of people in the world that don't even have health insurance. Well, maybe it's gonna, create a little savings account to actually pay for the next doctor, GP appointment. Who knows, So that is the great thing. So definitely that these kind of fitness apps, I think they will succeed, and it's really early days for them still. Play to earn, I think learn to earn would be great.
Yeah, okay.
Paid for watching this podcast to learn something, or more like the educational ones, not with just chatting, but really learning something, like you're getting your certificate, you're doing courses and you're getting your innovation certificates and that kind of stuff, and then you're getting, every time you're attending a course, or even like in third world countries, we really have a problem that people cannot go to education and learn because families can't afford. So imagine what this can do in these kind of countries.
Yeah.
But still very early days. But learn to earn, we see already included in existing gaming projects, for example, or crypto projects in general, where they just try to animate the community to learn, so they actually understand what's going on, and then they're just receiving that ecosystem token. And definitely asset tokenization. Lately I see a lot more PR campaigns about real estate tokenization projects, and there's really much more coming to the market. We see it as well with inquiries from interested parties, because Blocksquare, you can also white label the tokenized marketplace, like the entire technology solution, if you decide you want to be the next big realestate.com or something like that, and start it as a business instead of developing your own platform for the next 18 months and pay hundreds or thousands of dollars. You can basically just white label the Blocksquare marketplace solution and have all the tech set up, and you just put your own brand on it, and you're ready to go within 2 weeks. Basically.
Oh, okay. So it's like building a token on top of the Ethereum network.
No, it's if you want to tokenize real estate.
Okay.
If you're, for example, someone who says, you know what, I'm a real estate agent, or I'm a fund manager, or whatsoever, I want to actually start a business around tokenization of real estate.
Yeah.
So instead of spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to develop your own entire platform, you can just white label basically what's already there, proven and already tested for many years now, and you're ready to go. So the goal was to make it easier for the market to basically start tokenization. Let's focus on what we can do, and not on just building and spending all the money for years. And then when we spend millions of dollars, then we realize, oh, actually nobody wants to tokenize.
Yeah.
So that's not the point. We want to tokenize, and we want to see that this is changing an industry and it has a real impact.
Yeah. Well, so I was at the music crypto thing with Sophie the other night, the one where you had your events and her events on the same night. So I couldn't be in two places at once. But it's very interesting what the music industry are doing as well, where they're now getting direct payments to the musicians as opposed to going through labels and that sort of stuff. Very exciting. But also when we were on the call with Perth Heat, the baseball team, the other day, he was talking about NFTs for the players and also fans and the tokenization of fan base and all that sort of stuff. So you're getting all these industries. Well, that's what kind of where it excites me with the NFTs and all that sort of stuff is the sporting, because you've got the NFL that are doing it, the NBA that are doing it. You've got what are they called? The soccer FC or whatever it's called. Out of England and Europe, they're getting their players to have NFTs and tokenizing their fan base and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, but now imagine again, you're walking into a stadium and you can either, yes, the fan tokens is more like, rewards tokens to be like part of this community and all that. And that is great. But now imagine you combining this with actually, you know what? I'm not only there and supporting my team, I'm also actually get paid every single week from all the seats they're getting sold in the stadium.
Yep.
Because they tokenize actually the stadium.
Yeah.
And there's so much money just made from that.
Yep.
Or the same when you go the ticketing, one industry is selling the tickets and pay for the music and do that. But the other one is basically the event space where it's all happening.
Yep.
The income from that. That's another story. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're getting we're getting. It's almost like the dams just had a little crack, and we're getting these people like the music. I can't remember the name at the moment, but like Perth Heat. Where the baseball teams and lots of stuff, where they're the first ones that are sort of going through the breach type of thing. Well, they've spent a lot of time looking at it, and they've spoken to us and other experts in the industry. They're not going into it blind, but they can see, they're forward thinking, they can see the future. And I think that once like Perth Heat get up and running, because he was even talking about when they hit home runs, they'll put a QR code up on the scoreboard and people can scan it and get $10 worth of Bitcoin. He was coming up with some mad stuff. I'm having them on the podcast. We're trying to organize a time between the CEO and the manager and myself on the podcast next week, hopefully, because going into that meeting, I had some ideas of what they could do and becoming a crypto person. But they had other ideas, like they'd really explored it. And I think that when they get up and running, you're going to see the other baseball teams in Australia just jump into it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because they can use it as a use case now, So they're the first ones through the breach, and we're going to be doing a lot of work with them in education and that sort of stuff. And it's great that they've reached out to actually crypto people that are on the ground that do it for a living day in, day out and have done for years, as opposed to listening to a committee. That they've gone directly to the people that do know, and they've explored the ideas with us. I think it's going to be great, right down to like them paying their players a certain percentage in Bitcoin. So it educates the players. So we're going to go in and we're going to sort of help educate the players and all that sort of stuff, but also their board members, but also their fan base, and have the crypto thing as they're walking into the stadium. We're going to be having things. So it's just an amazing thing. And I think that that's going to permeate, that word that I can't say right now, just through their community. But then you also open it up to go, okay, the baseball people are doing it. What about AFL? What about swimming? What about the surf club? What about the bowling club? What about the golf club? What about all, you know what I mean? So it's not only just they're breaking the dam for the baseball in Australia, they're actually breaking the dam for sport in general.
And what about a marketplace for tokenized state?
All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. We're just finishing off the podcast because Julia on a podcast decided not to plug her charger into her laptop, which is always it's always a very good idea. So it kind of died. So yeah, we're just finishing off. All right. So welcome back, Julia.
Thanks for having me again.
And we're going to splice these together somehow. All right. So just finishing off. So yeah, get your shill on. How do they contact you, or if they want to get hold of you, or links for any projects? We'll have them all down in the description anyway. But yeah.
Yeah, if you would like to get in touch with me, send an email to either info@techstack.io or connect with me on LinkedIn. That's always a good way as well. So we can see each other's faces. And also, so yeah, we do education at TecStack via Riva. So if you are working in the real estate industry, it might be a licensed agent, or you might be a CFO of a company, or even a lawyer working in a company that owns real estate assets. We do run CPD approved trainings via Riva, and these trainings are on our website as well. I will share the link with Brandon. And also, if you are interested in tokenization of real estate, the Oceanpoint protocol, you can find it on oceanpoint.ifi. Join our Discord there. You will just, by being part of the community, being in there, you will learn basically a lot about the tokenization of real estate. There's a lot of podcasts happening, and really great educational content. Our members are creating themselves as well for other members, because Oceanpoint is a DAO. And so there's heaps to learn from each other. But also Brandon is slowly turning into an expert for this as well.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Once a week. How do I do this again, Julia? Yeah, no, it's a very interesting project, and it's good to have someone on the inside too that understands it and the level that you do. Which is what I like, and you're accessible as well. So yeah, all the links will be in the description, because you're going to email them to me. Actually, email it to Rick. Oh, I don't know. Email it to me. I'll pass it on, and we'll put it all in. So thank you.
I also wanted to add something. Here in Perth, it's really incredible that we have really amazing innovators here. I'm part of the PropTech Hub WA as well here in William Street. We have over 200 members now here. There's a lot of events happening. So if you ever want to come around, join the community events, there's really heaps of stuff going on, trying to bring innovative projects together with industry adoption as well. I think this is something a lot of token holders as well as project owners really forget. So people are really always looking into technology, what are they developing, how is this different, but we often forget the industry adoption. And I think this is something here in Perth. I mean, so the PropTech Hub for property technology is very specific, but then we have Blockchain WA here now as well, where we bring the blockchain industry together. And I think it's really important that we all work on real world application. That innovation is great, and the entire Web3 and the entire tokenization, it's amazing, gives us so much opportunity. But it's not enough to develop a technology and raise capital for it and develop the technology for years and years and years, and then there's literally nobody using it. It's not about exchange listings. It's not about pumps and dumps. Crypto and blockchain technologies are about changing the way how we do things, and this is happening in industry adoption, really. So
yeah, no, that's a good point, because because I mean, I've been to a few events at the Prop Hub and all that sort of stuff, and you've got stuff going on all the time, but it's also a good way for people that are working on projects or interested in projects to collaborate and get to know each other, you know. So yeah, I think we've got a really good community, a thriving community here in WA and in Perth. Yeah, no, very good points, and we'll have all that information in the link. Okay.
Thank
Cool.
you.
Cool, man. Well, thanks
for
finishing.
bringing me on again.
Cool, man. All right. Thank you very much, Julia. And please like, subscribe, look in the description. Everything, all contacts for Julia will be there. Cool. All right, mate. Cheers.